Hey guys, Matt from Wolverine X4 RSpec Nation here. Got the X4 ready to put the heater kit in. Finally got around to getting some time to be able to install it. Unbox everything here on the bench. We got the heater with the, looks like Spall fan. I posted some pics and some measurements. Some guys were asking about the instructions. All the ductwork, vents, fittings, switches, wiring. Hopefully it goes together pretty good. Let's see what we got here. Alright guys, so the first step basically says to pull the firewall, which you saw me do that, the bolts and what's involved with that when I mounted the windshield. This does have the glass windshield on it, so what I actually ended up doing, probably be the easiest way to pull the windshield, but I actually managed to take the two bottom bolts off and one of the bottom of the top mount and loosen the nuts up, and that gave me enough room to get the bolts out and slide the dash out. But basically what you're gonna do is, here's the finished one. They give you this duct for the defrost, and then this little guard that goes over top, held in place by two screws. But it's pretty slick. On the back of the firewall, you'll see they actually have it traced out where to drill the two holes, and then I just cut it out with a multi-tool and then filed it a little bit. So I just want to show you guys that. I got to file a little bit more, clean it up a little bit, but like I said, it's marked out on the back exactly where to cut it. I actually, on this side, actually widened it out a little bit further than how Yamaha had it marked to get the maximum flow out of the defrosters. But it was still pretty far away from the mounting hole, so it worked out pretty good. So I'm going to do the same on this side and probably reinstall this firewall. We'll see what the next step is. The next step they have in the instructions is to drill a 2.5 inch hole on both sides of the console for the vents. I used a cheap 2.5 inch hole saw that I had a set of. I think I got them at Harbor Freight or something. But anyway, you drill a 2.5 inch hole and it's a hair too small, it won't go in. So basically what I did is I have a little plastic reamer on the end of a drill, and I just worked it around, and it did a real nice job, and I was able to push it in, and it works perfect and looks perfect too. So I was worried about screwing that up and having it too loose or fighting it, but it worked pretty slick. You start with a 2.5 inch hole, and then if you look, there's these little ribs that catch, but it won't go with a 2.5 inch hole. It's way too big. So but it's nice. You work up to it, and it only took a couple, maybe a minute or so of going around the hole with the reamer, and it fits right in and pushes in and snaps in good. So, and it looks real good. So I'm super happy with that. It looks like they spin a good bit, close, open, real nice looking, clean setup. So I'm gonna get this other one in and see what the next step is. Alright, so with the kit they give you 3 different sections of hose. This piece, the shorter piece, and a really long piece. Basically, you just get this T-fitting and put one on each end. Pretty self-explanatory, and run the long piece down. The medium-sized piece goes to the vents, or the defrosters, I'm sorry, and these will eventually get hooked to the vents that are in the dash. Both sides, you kind of run them down through, try to fish them down through the firewall and down to the driver's side of the motor. I jumped forward through the directions and got the wiring harness and switch for in the dash for the heater. It has a low and high setting. Basically, you grab one of these, you see there's like 5 accessory plugs. It's simple, pretty simple plug and play type deal. Basically just pop one of the caps off air, plug it in. There is an inline fuse you can see here in case you would ever blow a fuse. That's where it's at, under the dash. And then you basically just run it down They give you the rocker switch and it plugs in there, and then you got your wires that go to the fan, and eventually these two, I gotta route them the rest of the way under here. So I'm actually gonna button up the dash and get everything routed down to where the heater's gonna eventually sit, and then we'll go from there. Okay guys, so something I want to mention that's important. After you put the hoses together, I played around for a little bit and ended up having to pull the windshield completely out of it due to the fact that you got these windshield supports that you put on if you're running the glass windshield. So the easiest way to do it, I found, was to connect the inside vents first, run them through there, and then pop them into place, and then fish the ones that come up to the defrosters up through. Basically, it's going to sit behind, maybe off to the side a little bit of the defrosters. Those windshield brackets are pretty much the actual, this part of the defroster actually sits behind here, so you kind of got to set it in place past those, and I'll zip tie them when I'm ready to bolt it up. Basically, I'm going to have to go like this and then slip it down in there. So I just wanted to note that I tried a few different ways, and that's about the only way I can see that it goes without having to pull those brackets out. So it should be fine. I just wanted you guys to note that. So and then again, they do the long parts of the hoses. I have those all ringing out. Basically, you have to pull the center console, everything runs through there. So basically I'll have everything together, and I'll just have to bolt the heater unit in itself and hook the hoses up and the switch up, and then tie into the radiator or the cooling lines to be able to get some heat to her. So let me get this all tied up, buttoned up in the front, and then we'll start on the heater itself. Thanks. Okay guys, so I did end up having to take the front floorboard out. So basically you have to take the whole center console out, the front floorboard, and obviously the rear floorboard I had apart from when I did the clutch work. Basically the heater itself bolts down. There's 2 bolts in the back and 1 in the front. Your 2 air ducts, you got to run them down, and then they go, I don't know if you can see this or not, but no, not really. On this side of the heater, there's 2 inlets. Doesn't matter which ones. There was one hose that was shorter than the other, so I put that on the closest one. You splice in a T on this coolant line here, right by the primary, and it goes to the outer side of the heater unit, and then they give you these springs to keep stuff from kinking. And then the longer one, you want to run it all the way underneath there, and then it comes out to the other side, the passenger side. You have to unbolt the coolant reservoir, and then you can see right there's the T. So that's where it gets tied in. So it's a little bit of playing around, fishing it through, making sure that everything's, you know, not touching the drive shaft or anything hot or anything that's going to burn or rub. So I zip tied it all pretty decent, and it does plug in. I ran the, you know, obviously the wiring harness down. They give you the switch. It has, I didn't put antifreeze in it yet, but low and high does seem to blow very well. But like I said, I gotta get some antifreeze in it and bleed the air out of it and get it all back together, and then we'll see how it works. Okay, she's all back together, got her all full of antifreeze, got all the floor panels and everything bolted up. It's actually pretty sweet. It's raining today, so it's you know, probably like in 40s, high 40s, low 40s, but you can definitely feel the heat. These can all be adjusted. If you close both of them, obviously it puts more on the frosters. But I'm pretty impressed with it. It's not very loud. Low with the machine running, you can barely even hear it blowing. On high, you definitely can hear it. But it works pretty good. I can't wait to get it out with some cold weather and see how it takes the chill off. But I do have the machine running right now. These X4s are super quiet, but as far as the install goes, I would say that the heater kit was probably the hardest out of all the ones that I've done here on the X4. The cab, the windshield, the clutch kit, the wheels and tires. I would say the heater took the longest, and it was just a lot of, you know, you had to route lines and wires all the way through, take all the plastics apart and put them back together. Just a lot of bolts, screws, clips. Just take your time, but not too bad. Overall, I'm happy with it. I think the again, the wiring issue's nice. Being able to plug it all in and not have to do any wiring, and the vents are pretty well thought out. But as far as that goes, I'm impressed with it. I like it. It seems to be working great. I'll probably take it for a little ride and then maybe check the antifreeze again, but so far so good. I can't wait to get it out with the clutch kit too, with these new wheels and tires, get them dirty, see how they do. But she's really shaping up. I really like it. Thanks for watching, guys.